Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly for pricing at tmosso@thewatchbox.com. You don't need to own a Nautilus, an Aquanaut, a high complication, or an August vintage reference in order to own the heart and soul of Patek Philippe watchmaking. Because launched in 2001 and discontinued in 2017, this Patek Philippe Calatrava 5120G is exactly what Patek does so well: attention to detail and uncompromising standards, with absolute respect and reverence for history. So, in white gold, this watch is 35 millimeters in diameter by only 6.7 millimeters thick from lug tip to lug tip. It measures 40.8 millimeters, and the spacing between the lugs is a very traditional 18 millimeters. Throw it on my wrist, and my wrist is 16 centimeters circumference. The watch wears beautifully. It's not too small by any means. Yes, it's a unisex option, and no, I'm not going to give you a lower limit for wrist size. I think any wrist, even a child's wrist, could wear this well. It is super flat, easily sliding underneath a cuff of any kind, and a two-hand, no-date Patek Philippe Calatrava is a dress watch par excellence. Now we have a Patek strap right here, large rectangular scale, alligator leather, black gloss finish, monotone stitch. You can see a sheer cut side, calfskin on the bottom, little pull tab spring bars for easy removal of the strap, and it is a brand new Patek strap. You can also see a Patek Philippe matching white gold polished spade style pin buckle. And then the case, which is manufactured the old school way. First, you can see the hall marking, and then the Patek Philippe maker's mark between the lugs up at 12 o'clock. So Patek made this case in 18 karat white gold, and you can see that it was constructed by building the case, building the lugs separate, and then inserting the lugs into holes in the case, welding the two together, and removing the evidence of the weld between the lug and the case to create a very sharp break between the two surfaces. This is much more laborious and time-consuming than simply stamping out a case. It's the old school way of making a case. Now, this design of a relatively flat watch with simple manual wind architecture and a hobnail bezel with straight lugs that project violently out from the case flank rather than blending into the profile. This was first established in the early 1970s with the 3520, a timepiece that, in hindsight, was probably the first of the modern era Calatravas and one of the first to be referred to as such. Of course, the reference 96 of 1932 is the ultimate Calatrava, or the first watch in the succession. But in terms of establishing the aesthetic that would define the Calatravas in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, the 3520 was the watch, and its spirit lives on here, albeit in automatic winding form. The dial is simple, opaline or matte white, and it is white, not silver, with radially arrayed, transferred black Roman numerals, including a watchmaker's 4. At center, we have blackened white gold hands. They are simple baton-style hands, and the signatures are simple: Patek Philippe, the city of origin, and yes, it is Swiss-made. Turn it all over, and we have a movement that was originally launched in 1977, but more often than not has been used to drive flagship references, mostly complications. To see it in a simple two-hand watch is exceptional, as you generally don't find two-hand or even three-hand and date Calatravas with a micro rotor automatic. For the most part, they've used various versions of the center rotor automatics and the 215 manual wind. So getting caliber 240 here really makes this a prestige piece in a sort of stealthy sense. The advantage of a micro rotor is that you get the convenience of automatic winding, but you get the flat case profile of a manual and the open, unobstructed case back view of a manual. So it is an automatic winder by virtue of a 22 karat gold micro rotor. It has a 48-hour power reserve. It has the high horology adjustment standard of 5-position adjustment, as well as to hot and cold. You'll also find that on chronometers. It's a free-sprung gyromax style balance, meaning all of the adjustments are used with variable inertia bolts on the balance, a system developed by Patek in the 1940s, implemented in the 50s, and a real mechanical engineering milestone and signature of the brand. The balance beats away at 6 beats per second, and this is a 27-jewel movement that has been handsomely hand-finished. Côte de Genève, mirrored anglage on the edge of the bridges, black polished screws, engine turning on the base plate, satination on the wheels. It's all here, and you won't be disappointed. 30 meters water resistant, but this isn't really a watch for swimming. That's for splash and rain exposure only. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details of this Geneva hallmark signed Patek Philippe Calatrava 5120G.